This video will teach you how to start an Amazon FBA business selling private label products step by step. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell button to be notified when new videos come out. Now, the strategies described in this tutorial are primarily meant for private label sellers, but they can also be applied to other e-commerce business models as well. However, if you're going to make an effort to sell on Amazon FBA, it pays to sell under your own brand. Now, why is that? Because when you don't control the brand, the only differentiating factor you have is price, which always spirals to the bottom over time. And by selling your own private label products on Amazon using FBA, you always have the buy box, you have full control over your listing, and you can make modifications to your products as you see fit. Now, the key to launching a successful product on Amazon can be broken down into 4 basic steps, which I'll describe below. 1. You must find a profitable product to sell. 2. You must learn how to create a high converting product listing. 3. You must solicit reviews for your goods. And 4. You must drive traffic to your listings with Amazon sponsored ads. But the devil's in the details, so let's go into more depth on how to sell on Amazon FBA. Now, what is Amazon FBA? Because Amazon owns 50% of the online retail market, chances are you shopped on Amazon at some point in your life. But did you know that most of Amazon's sales are actually not through selling their own products? And in fact, over 50% of Amazon sales are derived from third-party sellers selling on Amazon FBA. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon, which means that Amazon is responsible for warehousing and shipping a seller's products, but they don't own the item being sold. So in other words, Amazon acts as your fulfillment center and 3PL. And what's awesome is that not only does Amazon FBA handle product fulfillment, but all of your customer service as well. They process all returns, and only very specific customer service inquiries ever make it to your inbox. And from the customer's perspective, they can't tell whether they are buying from Amazon directly or from a third-party seller selling their goods on Amazon. They get access to the same delivery options, service, prime shipping, everything. As a result, you can make a lot of money with an Amazon FBA business with very little staff. And as an FBA seller, you don't have to physically carry any inventory. Meanwhile, Amazon handles all of your product fulfillment and most of your customer support. And in fact, I know many 7-figure Amazon FBA sellers that are just 1 or 2-man shops. And the best part is that you can sell remotely on Amazon FBA from anywhere in the world. So here's how it works. 1, you send your products to specific Amazon FBA warehouses located all over the world. And these fulfillment centers are massive and typically run by a mixture of robots and Amazon employees, and they are very efficient. When a customer places an order on Amazon, Amazon will fulfill the order for you, and the entire process is seamless, and you don't have to lift a finger. And after your product is delivered, Amazon then follows up with the customer to make sure that everything was delivered on time. And if the customer wishes to make a return, Amazon handles that as well. And then every 2 weeks, Amazon just cuts you a check for your sales. Now, having Amazon handle all of your fulfillment does come at a cost, but it's actually not as bad as you think. So first off, you have to sign up for an Amazon account. And there are 2 types of Amazon FBA seller accounts, individual and professional. Individual seller accounts are free, but you have to pay 99 cents for every item sold. Meanwhile, a professional Amazon FBA seller account carries a monthly subscription fee of $39.99, but there are no per item fees. So as a result, if you plan on selling more than 40 items every month, it is always cheaper to get a professional seller's account. There are also certain seller features that are only available to professional sellers as well. And similar to eBay, Amazon charges a fee for selling on their marketplace. Here's a very rough breakdown. In most cases, Amazon charges a 15% referral fee on your overall sales for 90% of their product categories. And this fee is assessed on every single sale, regardless of returns. If you are selling via Amazon FBA, Amazon will also charge you fees for shipping and handling. Now, the exact cost of Amazon FBA largely depends on the size and weight of your product. However, in general, these fees tend to be less than what you can get shipping the item out yourself. And a general rule of thumb when it comes to Amazon fees is to assume that you will pay Amazon roughly 1/3 of your revenue. Now, in order to start selling on Amazon FBA, you need to follow these exact steps, which are outlined in the rest of this video. So first, you must find a profitable product to sell. You must create an Amazon listing and send your product to Amazon's warehouse. You must optimize your listing for maximum conversions. You must gather reviews for your products, and you must learn how to run Amazon sponsored product ads. And then finally, you must learn how to rank your products in Amazon search. So let's start with finding a profitable product. Now, finding the right product to sell online is more than half the battle, and the ideal product to sell on Amazon has the following characteristics. It sells for between $20 and $200 because this is a sweet spot for online shopping. You generate a 66% gross margin before fees, and you can calculate your gross margin by subtracting your cost of goods from the selling price and then dividing that number by the selling price. You must offer a unique value proposition. You never want to sell me too products. Instead, make sure your product provides value and stands out among the competition. The product that you sell also has to have sufficient demand. On Amazon, people shop by performing keyword searches for what they want to buy. As a result, you have to make sure that consumers are actively searching for your products. The niche must not be too saturated. You don't want too many other sellers on Amazon selling the exact same product. In addition, you also want to avoid selling products with established brands. Now, if you're anything like me, it's difficult to just sit down and brainstorm products to sell. I'm not a creative person, and product ideas don't just come to me. As a result, I rely on a specific set of e-commerce research tools to help me speed up the process. In the show notes below this video, I've linked up a video that describes my exact process for finding profitable products to sell online. So watch that first if you don't know what you want to sell. Now, once you figure out what you want to sell on Amazon, you have to find a supplier for your products. Now, because Amazon takes roughly a third of your revenue as fees, your margins need to be around 66%. This way, your private label products cost you about a third, Amazon takes a third, and you get to keep a third of your profits. Now, most Amazon FBA private label sellers source their products from China because the cost of labor is significantly lower over there. Now, there are many ways to find Chinese suppliers, but here's a short list of where to look. Alibaba. Alibaba is the largest directory of Asian factories and suppliers in the world and is a great resource when you're first starting out. Global Sources is similar to Alibaba. Global Sources is also a large directory of Asian suppliers online. The Canton Fair. It is the largest trade show in the world for Chinese suppliers. The Canton Fair is free to attend, and you can vet hundreds of suppliers in the span of just a couple of days. There's also Jungle Scout. Every sea shipment that arrives in the United States is documented on the public record. As a result, you can use the Jungle Scout supplier database to quickly find out the factories your competitors are using. There's a video linked below on how to use that tool as well. But once you've found a factory or supplier, you have to make initial contact and ask for more information. Now, due to cultural differences, negotiating with Chinese suppliers is significantly different than dealing with suppliers in other countries. And here's what you need to know. So first off, a common question I get asked is whether you need any credentials, permits, certifications to source product from overseas, and the answer is no, unless you are importing hazardous or restricted materials. But you don't need a seller's permit, you don't need a corporation or LLC, and you don't need a website. Now, most Chinese suppliers are only concerned with one thing. They want to know whether you can buy in bulk and move product. As a result, even if you are a complete newbie, you need to come across as bigger than you really are when you make initial contact. After all, as a factory, would you rather work with someone completely new or with someone who knows what they're doing and doesn't require hand-holding? Now, here's just a couple of tips when dealing with Chinese suppliers for the first time. Pretend that you are an employee of a larger company. Never claim to be the boss. Project confidence in your correspondence. Do not ask stupid questions that could easily be looked up with a simple Google search. Do not reveal that you are new to e-commerce. If they ask for your website and you don't have one, tell them you primarily sell your goods in kiosks. Don't show them your website if it isn't ready. And remember, it's all about respect. If they respect you as a potential customer, they will be willing to negotiate. Once you have some products ready to go, it's time to start your Amazon FBA journey. In order to sell on Amazon, you first need to create an account on sellercentral.amazon.com. And as I mentioned before, there are two choices of account to choose from. An Amazon individual seller's account, which is free to sign up, and you get charged a flat 99-cent per fee sale in addition to 15%. But the downside is you can only sell items that are already listed on Amazon. And then the second option is an Amazon professional seller's account, which costs $39.99. But it allows you to sell your own branded products and SKUs, and it makes sense financially if you plan on selling more than 40 items per month, which we all are here. Now remember, the ultimate goal is to sell your own branded products, so you should definitely sign up for an Amazon professional seller's account. Then you need to purchase barcodes to create your Amazon FBA listing. Okay, and so in order to create a listing on Amazon, you need to purchase a UPC barcode. Now, the topic of barcodes often confuses new sellers because Amazon only accepts GS1 codes, which are typically purchased from the GS1 websites. Now, barcodes can be purchased individually from the GS1 website for $25 a piece. Okay, so once you have a product to sell and you have an account set up on Amazon and you have a barcode, the next step is to actually create your listing. Now, the key thing to realize about Amazon is that the visibility of your product is based on how likely your product listing will generate a sale on a per visitor basis. So as a result, the conversion rate of your product listing makes a huge difference in how you rank because Amazon cares about sales more than anything else. An Amazon listing is composed of 4 major pieces: your image, your title, your bullet points, and your product description. Okay, and so out of those 4 pieces, your image is by far the most important part of your listing. And here are just some guidelines for your product photos. You want to make sure that you have more than one photo for every product that you list, and ideally you should use all the image slots that Amazon provides. Make sure your images are at least 1,000 by 1,000 pixels wide, because this is the minimum width required in order for the image zoom feature to kick in, which drastically improves conversions. Now make sure you fill up as much of the frame as possible with your product. You also want to take pictures at multiple angles and try to include a lifestyle shot if you can. Include a picture of your brand in the photo if possible to discourage copycats. So here's an example of excellent imagery for a product. Then you need to set your price. Now when you first list your item, it's going to have 0 views and not much visibility. So whenever you launch a new product, you should do some research with Jungle Scout on how your competitors are doing in your category, and then choose a price that undercuts everyone else in the beginning. Start low, even if you aren't going to be making much money, and then gradually raise your price over time as your product accumulates more sales and more reviews. Also, you're going to want to change the prices of your products at least once a week. Now, why is that? Changing your prices tends to trigger Amazon to send out abandoned cart emails to people who looked at your products to let them know that the price has changed. And this will tend to boost your sales and increase the short-term visibility of your item. Then you need to create your product title. Now, the title of your product is the second most important part of your listing. And right now, Amazon recommends that you include the following in your title description: the brand and description, the materials or key ingredient, the color, size, and quantity. In other words, you want to describe as much of your product as possible before someone clicks through. Remember, you want the customer to have a high likelihood of buying your product if they browse your listing, so you want to include as many important keywords as possible in your title, but make it sound natural. Think about your target customer and what they're looking for and make it enticing. Try to make your listing stand out. Now, whenever I tell someone to make their listing stand out, sometimes they get carried away, so here are some absolute no-nos. You never want to stuff keywords in your title or sacrifice the quality or the understandability of your product title. Never use all caps, and do not include promotional language like #1, top rated, or on sale now, because you'll get suspended. But overall, your title should convey exactly what your product is within the first 5 words and match what your intended customer is looking for. You're probably wondering why it's important to include your keywords in the first 5 keywords of your title. And the reason is because Amazon displays your products in a variety of places. And oftentimes your title will get truncated to just the first 5 words. And here are some examples of truncation. Meanwhile, here is an example of a good product title and a bad one for the purposes of illustration. Now, in this good example, the seller decided to place premium hotel and spa bath towels white to the front of the title. Now, this is a very good title because the first 5 main keywords are towards the front. Now, here's a bad example. If you contrast that to the other listing, you'll notice some major differences. This seller has chosen to have cotton candy TM bath towels at the front of the title, and guess what? No one has probably heard of cotton candy as a brand, so putting those keywords in the front does not improve the click-through rate of the towel. The title that you choose for your product also determines the product page URL, which can be important for the search rankings in Google. So how do you get your keywords in your product URL? It's all trial and error. And what you want to do here is to keep changing the title up until your desired keywords show up in the URL. Usually I spend 10 to 15 minutes or so trying to get as many of my keywords in the product as possible, but it's not a requirement. Next, you need to optimize your bullet points. Once you've determined your product title, the next step is to work on the bullet points, and outside of your images and your title, your bullet points actually have the greatest impact on your conversion rate. And you'll want to use your bullet points to convey your unique value proposition and why a customer should buy your product. Use your keywords in your bullet points and incorporate language that will convince a user to add that item to the cart. And again, you're going to want to be different and stand out from your competitors' listings. Now, if we extend upon the bath towel example earlier, here's an example of a listing with great bullet points. So first off, you'll notice that for each bullet point, there is a concise heading in all caps that stands out for the people who prefer to scan. Then, if they want to read more, there's a more detailed description after the all caps headline. All right, here's an example of a listing with poorly chosen bullet points. And in this example, the bullet points are all boring and some of the details are redundant. So for example, this seller is essentially wasting a bullet point with set of 4 bath towels because it's already in the title. It serves no purpose in convincing me to buy. And in fact, most of the bullet points in this example should just simply go into the description. Remember, your bullet point should contain your benefits using persuasive language. Next, you want to choose your back-end keywords. Amazon allows you to add search terms to your listing, and the words you enter in these fields will determine whether your product will show up when an Amazon customer conducts a search. And here are just some general guidelines to follow. Do not repeat any words, do not use commas, do not include multiple variations of the same word, i.e. book and books, include synonyms and spelling variations, do not include misspellings, do not use your competitors' brand names, use keywords in your top competitor's description, use dimensions of your product if applicable, and don't repeat keywords that were already in your title. Now, to find and explore keywords to use for your listings, I use the Jungle Scout keyword tool. Jungle Scout will tell you what keywords people are searching for and their frequency. As a result, you should pick and choose the most pertinent keywords that garner the highest search volume for your listing. Now here's an example where I'm using Jungle Scout to find all the keywords related to garlic press. Now Jungle Scout tells me the average number of monthly searches for all garlic press related keywords along with an ease to rank number that gives me an idea of how hard that keyword is to rank in Amazon search. Now an Amazon keyword tool is a must-have, otherwise you will be flying blind. Remember, the keywords in your title are searchable, so don't repeat any of the same keywords in your listing. Meanwhile, here are the types of keywords that you should be using. Now there are many different types of keywords that you can use in your listing, so I will summarize them below. Number 1, you want to use keywords that convey benefits. Now oftentimes people will search for specific benefits of a product, and expanding on the towel example earlier, some people might be searching for super soft or easy care bath towels. You also want to use keywords that describe a problem. So if you're selling nail polish that tastes bad for kids, you might want to include terms like stop biting your nails because people are searching that way. You also want to use keywords that provide a solution. If your product offers a specific solution, you want to specify it. So for example, if you're selling dandruff shampoo, you might want to use the word dandruff problem in your keyword list. You also want to point out synonyms for your existing keywords. Specify all the different ways people refer to your product. So for example, if you sell flashcards, you might want to include SD card or memory card because they're synonyms. You also want to use keywords that add specificity. Sometimes people are searching for specific subcategories of products, and using the bath towel example, you might want to include keywords like Turkish cotton or hotel or spa. You also want to use keywords that describe a use model. Certain items might have specific use cases. So for example, you might be selling kitchen dish towels or surfing towels. Point out all the different uses for your product in keywords if they are being searched. You also want to use keywords that target a specific audience. So for example, you might be selling bath towels for kids or towels for tea lovers. Just get an idea of what people are searching for and just make sure you use those keywords in your listing. And then finally, you want to write your product description. Now, because your product description is all the way on the bottom of the page, the description is probably the least important, but it really depends on what you sell and how complicated your product is. Anecdotally, the product descriptions don't carry as much impact on search as your keywords, your title, or your bullet points, but you should still put some effort into making your descriptions look good. Now, while it's actually not documented very well, you can use basic HTML to format your listings, but even better, you should use enhanced brand content to really make your descriptions stand out. All right, so once you have your listing in order, it's time for the fun part, making sales. And incidentally, this is going to be the topic of the next video, so stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed this video. Now, if you like what you saw, there's actually a lot more where that came from if you subscribe to my channel below. And if you are interested in learning how to sell physical products online, then click over here and take my free 6-day mini course where I'll walk you through everything that you need to know to get started in e-commerce. Thanks for watching.